the funniest thing, Adam, is like now we don't even use amps on stage. It's all modelers, which is like, it's like the Kemper kind of profiling thing. So you just have an amp simulator, and then you put that through the in-ears and then out through the speakers in front.
Hey, Trevor, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How's my audio?
Sounds good.
Nice. I got you loud and clear. What do you got, SM7?
Yeah, SM7.
Very nice. Like it.
Yeah, I've had you on my podcast before, but it was right when COVID hit. It was like April of 2020. And this wasn't like Zoom wasn't like really, I mean, it was around obviously, but it was more of a like we did it over the phone. It was quite a situation.
It's been perfected now.
Yeah.
No, I remember that. I remember the album covers in the background.
Oh yeah, cool. I think Tom just got here.
I think Tommy's trying to jump on.
Yeah, I
just
put him in.
Is that cool?
No, 100%. That's awesome.
Okay. Hello.
I'd love to have you both. Hey, what's up, Tom? How's it going?
What's up, man?
I'm Adam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Cool. Well, I've had Trevor on before, and I'm excited to chat with you both this time around.
Yeah, man.
This is about you guys and the kind of the origin story, a little bit of Moon Taxi, and about the new album.
Yeah.
Sweet. The first time around, we kind of heard your story, Trevor, but we'll dive into it a little bit if that's cool, and then how you guys met, and I have some follow-up questions from the first time, and then we'll talk about the new album, because you had just released Hometown Heroes when I talked to you.
Yeah, and that was a different time in space. So much has happened between now and
very
then.
long time ago.
Yeah, I feel like a different person, but at the core, we're all who we are. And the other guy on the Zoom line right there, Tommy, he and I have been playing music together since we were 15 years old. So
more than you guys met in high school, right?
Yeah,
Alabama?
That's right.
That's so cool.
More than half our lives. So we got through a pandemic, like that couldn't take us down. No, I'm not sure anything can.
I love it. Are you both in Nashville? Are you in Nashville?
I'm in Franklin, so I'm south of Nashville, and then Tommy's up in downtown Nashville.
Oh wow, okay. It's crazy. So last time I talked to you guys, or to you at least, Trevor, I was in San Diego, and I've moved to Nashville since then. I mean,
welcome.
Yeah, we moved here about two years ago. My family and I.
What part of town are you guys in?
We're in like Thompson Station, Spring Hill area.
Nice.
So
I'm
just
not
south
far
of
from
you.
Yeah, I'm West Franklin, so I'm like just off 96.
You
so
should go play pickleball with Trevor.
Oh, I'd love to.
I got into pickleball when I moved down here.
Oh, really?
Totally
I've played. I've a buddy of mine who lives a neighborhood or so over. He's way into it too.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's pretty popular in our neighborhood. They take it way too seriously, but I got kind of caught up in that.
I was about to call Trevor yesterday. I was at this Pride event, and they were showing the pickleball championship on ESPN. I was like, I need to call Trevor. And then he called me.
It's like, are you watching this?
Yes, I'm already on it,
bro.
That's amazing. So Trevor, you were originally born and raised in upstate New York, and then you moved to.
That's right. Yeah, and then have been in Nashville since early 2000s. So I've been here for the longest stint of my life, and we'll probably be here for forever now.
I love it.
Where else do you want to go? I mean, like
this is the best place I've ever been. To be honest, I love it here.
You like it here? Yeah, I mean,
absolutely love it.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, Franklin's. That's where we tried to move. We got kind of priced out, and then everything was going too quickly at the time, and but it was we absolutely love it. When we moved here, we decided to make the move in like November, December of 2020, and then eventually got here in February, and we've been here ever since. And we absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, for when we tour, so like we get to see all these different places, and like I kind of get that fix of, maybe I'd like to live in Colorado, or maybe I'd like to live out on the West Coast, and like I get these little glimpses of what my life might be like out there. But I've just been here for so long, and all my family lives here, and like the band, all of our management. It's like, we're so deeply entrenched now that it would be so hard to leave.
Yeah. I could, for sure. Well, okay. So, Tom, where are you? Are you originally from Birmingham area? Is that where
No,
you're
I was born in Little Rock. And then,
okay,
you know,
in
my
Arkansas.
dad was kind of a corporate guy, so he was chasing, you know, different opportunities with that around. So we went to Louisville for 2 years, and we went to Atlanta for like 8, and then settled in Birmingham. And that's kind of where I had my growing up years. Met Trevor, and then we went to college together at Belmont, Nashville.
Wow. How'd you get into music?
Man, you know, when you're like, I guess it's like around 11 years old, everybody kind of starts playing. It seemed like every kid was starting to do it, right? And they were into it, right? Started to pick up guitars and stuff. I guess maybe it's like your hands get big enough to actually do it. And it's true. I think that's true.
That's true.
And so I got one I told my parents I wanted a steel string guitar, which I don't really think is a thing. Because I was watching that White Zombie video, More Human Than Humans, like that slide guitar thing. I was like, I want to play that.
Okay.
Nice.
And or a bass guitar or a drum set. They settled on a bass guitar. And I got that for Christmas at my grandma's house in Missouri with a tutorial book. And we traveled from Missouri to Little Rock. For 4 hours straight.
Sorry, we lost you.
Tom,
for
you
a
cut
second.
out.
Yeah,
Tom, you cut out for a second.
Yeah.
I got the bass guitar in Missouri for Christmas.
In the book.
And then we traveled to my other grandmother's house in Little Rock, where it's a 4-hour drive, and I practiced the entire way down there. Just wanted to be good at it, no matter what.
How are you practicing the bass in the car?
In the back of the van.
You had a van.
I took the back row of the van and sat back there and did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I'll always remember when I first met Tommy, I asked him why he chose the bass. And he was like, well, I just want to join a band. I'm like, there's a million guitar players, and like, there's not that many bassists. I was like, that's smart, actually.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mainly it's guys that played guitar, and then it's like, okay, we need a bass player. Okay, just go play the root notes and kind of figure it out at that.
Exactly. Yeah. He started at bass, and then he's moved on to guitar. And he's a great guitar player. He writes
Thank you,
songs.
Trevor. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, he approaches it a different way than I would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you started off on trumpet, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, trumpet, and I still have it. I toot around every now and again.
Okay.
I got to dust the thing off for July 4th. I always play the anthem. I walk outside of my house.
Do you really? That's
right.
rad.
Yeah, right in the morning.
I didn't know you did that. You got to take a video of that.
You should. That's amazing.
Yep. I always get some neighbor just starts clapping at the end. You know, it's hard. It's hard to go wrong there.
Is there a time that you do that? Like
just when I get up in the morning sometime, or sometimes
do it like 7 or 8 times this year.
every hour just come out and do it. I will say 4th of July and those and even Memorial Day that we just passed up, being here in Nashville. I mean, the fireworks start for 4th of July, like whatever the Friday, 2 or 3 days beforehand. And the first 4th of July we were here, I remember my wife, like, it was like she was freaking out. She's like, "Is that gunfire? Like, what's going on?" And like, she's like, do we need to call someone?" Like, she thought like there's people like shooting guns outside. I'm like, no, I think it's just fireworks. But it was like 2 days beforehand.
Oh my gosh!
But it's so cool to see. You could just turn around at any point in your yard and see fireworks from anywhere. It's cool. So I didn't ask you this last time, Trevor. Was you played trumpet? Like what, up until you were in high school, or like was that an instrument you continued playing?
Yeah, I pretty much put it down when I picked the guitar up. So it was a seamless transition. Like I went from, the symphonic band in middle school, and then when I moved to Alabama and met Tommy, I picked up the guitar like immediately, and then just shut myself away in a room and just learned to play the thing, and then joined a band, within 3 months of there.
When you guys had met, was it were you in the same, like, how'd you guys meet at school? You're in the same
PE
with
class.
him? Oh, you
You
just
know,
kind
we met
of
in gym class.
Trevor always calls it gym class. I was about to say, I was like, I always called it PE. I guess it's like a
That's a northern southern thing.
yeah, it's a colloquialism kind of thing, I guess.
we
but,
called it PE when I was in San Diego.
Yeah.
PE, some people probably call it phys ed, but yeah. So when Trevor got to Birmingham, you know, he stood out big time. First of all, he had long hair, right? And that was uncommon for, you know, a suburban Birmingham, Alabama high school, right? There were some, but not many. So he had long hair, and he also talked, you know, his accent from Syracuse was like really, really funny to us. You know, I forgot all the words you said, but he'd say Tommy, you know, like that. It's kind of gone away a little bit.
Soda. Yeah, I mean, I've been in the South for
soda
majority
pop.
of my life
You
now.
want a pop? You want a soda pop, Tommy? Like, and and then he got put in my gym class, and also like, you know, I moved to Birmingham. Let's backtrack just a little bit. I moved to Birmingham from Atlanta in the middle of the year when I was in 3rd grade, and that was really difficult, right? It's a place that a lot of people don't necessarily move to, right? Like there's some, but not a whole lot. You don't switch schools all that much. And Trevor switched in the middle of the year too. So I kind of was like, okay, you know, I've been here before. I know what that's like. So, you know, I was immediately like, okay, you know, we'll probably be friends at some point. But what really did it was I was wearing a Fish shirt to school, and he loved Fish. I had one record, and he came up and he was like, "Do you want to borrow this record, Unta?" And I'm like, "Sure." And went downstairs to my computer. He was doing a little bit of homework, put it on, and I was like, "What in the hell is this? This is awesome." And so we started talking about that, and he's like, "I play guitar," and then I was like, "I play bass. This works out. Let's jam together," you know. And then it just kind of kept moving forward after that.
And you guys started like you were in a cover band originally, or you were doing cover songs?
We actually started out writing songs. I mean, we learned
did?
covers. Yeah, we learned covers along the way, but I remember like the first piece of music I ever showed Tommy was something original. I mean, of course, like I had learned Jimi Hendrix songs and songs by The Cream and like a lot of classic rock.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah, more of the classic rock and playing like a big like half stack Marshall or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
One of those. Yeah, I was like, we need bigger amps.
But like we kind of always started out with original music, but we would, you know, supplement covers. We learned covers as well, like along the way, especially when we like were asked to play our first show, which was at a middle school dance. Like we just had to fill an hour's worth of material. So we're like, all right, let's learn a bunch of covers.
I feel like those kids were so bored. You know, I just remember the picture. They're all just standing there.
We had
were nobody was like slow, like you guys weren't playing and they were like dancing along or anything like that? Like
no,
not really. There's no real movement. There's another picture of us playing at the bonfire that they did before homecoming in high school. And I had these huge baggy pants on, and I think Trevor did too. And you know, the Marshall stack I think was there. And in the back
era for fashion for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and even amps. Like, I mean, nowadays you'll go see a show and there'll be like a little combo amp and it's just mic'd, I feel like is
the funniest thing, Adam, is like now we don't even use amps on stage. It's all modelers, which is like, you know, it's like the Kemper kind of profiling thing. So you just have an amp simulator and then you put that through the in-ears and then out through the speakers in front.
That's
so really went full circle from full stack to no stack.
Yeah.
Oh
wow. But that's cool that you guys got to play those kind of school events like that. I mean,
talent shows.
The talent show is the one that put us on the map. That one, they really did. It was like, oh wow, who are these? We got second place as sophomores. The band that won was really
good.
They
were like a legacy act.
Yeah, I forgot. They were seniors and they were really good. The bass player in that the bass player in that band, I can't remember his name, but he went on to study upright at Vanderbilt. He was like just monster.
I do remember that guy.
Yeah, he was really good. Probably still lives here. But I remember, he studied upright at Vanderbilt, and everybody, the last I heard was that he was like doing jazz stuff and, you know, for all kinds of records and whatnot.
You could probably look him up in a yearbook if you really wanted to.
I could. I have a yearbook over here. Do you want to see some pictures of Trevor and I from the yearbook?
Yeah,
I think we
actually, I
should- we
really
should break
do.
it out.
Okay, hold on. Well, it's right here.
This is
Right, hold on.
amazing.
Yeah, you're getting the full backstory. See, this is
Yeah.
why I wanted Tommy on, so you could get.
No,
the-
this is great.
yeah, this is good.
And I'm glad I could see you this time. Last time was over via the telephone rig that I kind of figured out.
Okay.
Right. No, this is way better.
It was under the PlayStation. Hold on, I got it out. How do I reverse this? There we go. Okay.
So is this our senior yearbook?
Yep.
Okay.
Here's all kinds of stuff that different people wrote to me, but
Mm-hmm.
let's keep looking. Hold on, it does not take very long to get here. We played in the senior talent show too, right?
Yeah, if you go to, I think there's like a talent show page that would feature like a photo or two of us.
This is all football stuff. Let's just go to our.
There it is.
Oh, wait, here you go. Oh, yeah, there you go.
There's those baggy jeans. Oh, look at those.
Look at how baggy those are. Amazing.
Amazing. And
Oh,
our
wow.
band name was Apex.
Yep.
That is
Oh,
so
man.
rad.
And then it's pretty easy to get to these. Terndrup. There's Trevor. Hair a little shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Still looks good. And then
Tommy, you had the
Me.
mop top.
I did. Dude, everybody did pretty much. I mean,
Oh yeah.
and and
That's the
they
standard.
still.
That's so awesome that you have that just
and-
right
and they-
there.
Dude, I pull it out and show people all the time.
That's so rad.
And it's funny, like the mop top is still kind of around. I notice it. I can
Oh,
tell,
it's made a
like,
comeback for sure. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, you're
the
right.
younger generation.
Yeah.
That's so amazing. So you guys, but you both ended up going to Belmont. And what did
Mhm.
you? I mean, that's a huge school here in Nashville, a big music
Mhm.
school as well. What were you both studying? Like, did you go in as a bass player, Tommy, and then
I
Trevor,
did.
guitar player, or what?
I started with electric bass in the jazz program, and it was like really competitive, right? Like people, like they weren't really that nice to each other, and I didn't make an ensemble my freshman year, so I joined the orchestra because I knew I had to learn upright bass anyway, and that helped me learn how to read music. The conductor had me sit behind John Osborne from Brothers Osborne, and he and I became good friends, and he basically taught me how to read music that year.
Whoa.
And then I fell in love with that kind of music. I was like, well, some of this shit rocks, like this is, some of it's heavy. And I liked it, and just decided I'd switch over from jazz to classical, get better at the upright. My electric bass teacher would be able to give me some electric lessons too, and just really hunker down on learning music in general.
Okay. Wow. And what about you, Trevor? Did you go in for guitar or songwriting?
I auditioned for the music school, but I didn't make it into the music school, which is probably, in retrospect, for the best. So I entered as a business student, but then took a Spanish class, ended up loving it. So I picked up Spanish major, took a philosophy class and loved it. So picked up a philosophy major. So I was a double major.
Double major.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but getting an informal music education from Tommy, and Spencer also studied commercial guitar and production. So I was like really just kind of, asking them about chord formations, and we were playing at the same time. So it's like I was kind of just getting what you would get at a music school just from my
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
And
Tommy,
that's-
were you in the jazz
ahead.
band and everything, but in high school, or like how did you get into?
No.
Oh.
Trevor and I took a music theory class in high school,
Yep.
which was actually really fun. Like all the guys in there were just cool dudes that like music too. And that kind of gave us a jump start, or at least gave me a jump start in the music program. I got to opt out of the first year of music theory, and then subsequently took 5 semesters of classes studying that stuff. It got to the point where it's like, why are you even bothering studying this? Like, like breaking down Beethoven's, sonata and all the chords and why he did what he did. And it's like, it's basically science at that point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But to talk back on what Trevor was saying, about him learning the chord structures and stuff from me and Spencer. That's kind of the beauty of that school, is like, it's not necessarily what you learn in the class, it's talking to your friends outside of the class, right? Like me and a couple guys that were in the music business program, we'd go over to PM across the street and have beers, after school or at night, and just talk about music business. And so I learned a whole lot about that from just hanging out with people. And that was important too.
I was going to say there's a lot about networking and the professionalism, the professional side of music, like showing up for practice, for a gig, taking it very seriously, I think is a huge life skill that we learned at Belmont by being driven musicians, by wanting it, like wanting the dream so badly that, you're willing to put in the hard work for it.
Yeah, I've spoke with other artists that have came through there, and they were saying similar things. Like their first experience, like recording or working with like a producer, was just other kids in their class, like that they had been going to school with.
Yeah, I mean, we recorded our first record. I guess, were we still in college, or did we finish? I can't remember.
We were, like a few guys were finishing. Spencer finished early, remember? I think you and I might have still been in.
Yeah, I think you were an extra year and I was an extra semester.
Yeah.
Because you had the double major and I had the minor.
Yeah.
But we recorded this first record at a fellow student's, studio that was, not great, but it was a studio. And he let us use it for, I think, really cheap or free to make the first record.
Wow.
And I
that wasn't Cabaret. That was before that.
It was Melodica, yeah.
Yeah, Melodica.
I remember talking to our friend Justin Hamill, who wound up working for Lightning 100, and then I think he's moved on since then. But I was like, "What do we do, man? Like, we're getting like 40 people at our shows. What do we do next?" He goes, "You need to make a record." I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." And so we got the studio time with this dude, made the record. At the time, we thought it was great. It's definitely unique, but it wound up in the hands of our former manager, Don, and that really started pushing some stuff for us when we met Don. So just one step at a time.
So the first album we made, the kind of college record, as I call it, even though it's not really a part of our canon, so much. Like we didn't have Wes playing with us. It was like we were kind of just, we didn't know what we were doing. That led to other things that propelled us, like baby steps to get to where we are now. I mean, and this is our 6th album we're putting out now, so it's quite a few years down the line.
That's such a, you guys have had such an amazing journey. I'm curious. Well, I just have a quick question on this, because I wasn't familiar with Nashville at all last time I chatted with you, and since I moved here, I've become a little bit more hip to it. You guys are in you played like in a hip hop group, right? You were like the backing band for a little hip hop group, and you played the Ryman.
Yeah, that was a weird occurrence through Belmont. Yeah, it was really strange.
I was like trying to figure out like how that just whole thing sounds interesting.
They used to have like kind of talent show competition things at Belmont called Best of the Best. And Spencer met these 2 rappers named Blaze and Knowledge our freshman year. And we were already kind of jamming with Spencer and sort of forming Moon Taxi, the start of Moon Taxi. But he had already had this project with this rap group. So he was like, "Why don't you come play in the live band?" And we competed and won in this competition. And at that point, the prize for winning was you got to play the Ryman. So our freshman year in 2002, we were playing the Ryman as a backing band.
You're already playing the Ryman.
That's so crazy.
I know.
It was wild.
I know. And no, it gets better. We were opening for Eddie Money.
Oh, really? The hip hop group was opening for Eddie Money.
Yes.
He was the headliner. It still gets better. So the rap group, they're the main guys in the band, and they said that in the competition beforehand, one of the criticisms they got was that we didn't all dress the same, right? So they brought us a bunch of clothes. I think Trevor wore some kind of football jersey, and I was in a velour
Just
suit.
huge jersey.
Oh man, that's
I
funny.
loved that velour suit too. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, you looked really good in that, dude.
It was all black. It was badass.
I know, it looked really cool with your black bass.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. I guess we'll just skip ahead here quite a bit because I want to hear about what's gone on between Hometown Heroes and that album and what you guys are going on now. But I got hip to your band because I used to work for a radio station in San Diego. I worked at 91X, and you guys were supposed to play our like 35-year X Fest festival, and then it got canceled. But we were
Right.
playing the shit out of Too High. I mean, I remember that vividly, and that was kind of I remember you kind of talking about that song really, exploding for you guys. And but even before that, you had success with like Sinks, and you had that song on the McDonald's commercial. I mean, that must have been that's kind of seeing those successes, was that something like after you guys had graduated, just grinding it out? Do you remember like leaving your first like 9-to-5 job and then having that opportunity to kind of just do music full time? Was it prior to those albums coming out?
No, it's kind of always been baby steps of like growing where we are and then where we want to be. Too High and its streaming success at first, and then success at radio, the terrestrial stations. Thanks for playing us, by the way. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I don't work there
Yeah.
anymore, but when I did, we played you guys quite a bit, and then
I love it.
Unfortunately, that thing got I don't know what happened, but it was like back in.
It would have been epic.
Yeah,
I remember the lineup.
I've like found the poster recently because I knew I was chatting with you guys. I was like
And
Death
all
Cab
those-
and Beck and yeah.
All those
Joy
radio
Wave.
events we did in like the 2017 type era, those are so much fun. Like I wish we could do those tours all the time, but it's reserved for the people at the top of the charts. So we just need to get there again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and they were just such a like cluster of all those. Whoever was kind of having a charting song, or if like Pearl Jam put an album out, it'd be like, okay, we're gonna have this like headliner, and then it was like whoever fell, behind that. But yeah. So you said it was just kind of a like. At what point were you able to kind of just quit it, or was it that early on that because of just building and that being like the prime focus? Do you remember like leaving your job to be like, okay, I'm doing this full time?
Tommy had the last like real job.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, I worked at BMI in the sales department.
Oh wow.
Where we would call, music venues, gyms, hair salons, any place that was using music, restaurants, and I would sell them a license, right? And it's something that you have to have for the intellectual property rights for music being played in your business, right? And it was a tough job. I made 100 calls a day, and some people would tell me to go shove it. Others would, if you got to the right, like if you talk to the GM, like who we'd call a gatekeeper, usually that person's going to tell you to shove it, right? When you actually get to the owner of the business, they kind of understand it, like, oh, okay, I'll pay that. It's a fun game to play.
Yeah, because if they don't want to pay it, and they could essentially get sued, right, or get in trouble for not paying to play the songs.
Exactly.
They do it all the time. But then when they find out, you've got to get an ASCAP license too, they get really pissed off.
Yeah, that doesn't come cheap.
Like, wait, there's two of these.
Radio.
Yeah, and then they find out about CSAC, and they're like, "Huh? There's 3? How many more are there?" But that's it. There's only 3. But I remember quitting that job. We got an opening slot in Birmingham for Government Mule, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is kind of happening." And then we got our first tour opening for New Master Sounds, and I remember taking like a week and a half off to do that like 7-day run of shows with them, and coming back from it, even though it didn't move the needle all that much, I was like, that was really fun. I want to do that a lot. And then around Christmas time, I got a bonus of like $3,000. I was like, that's it, see you later. Put in my notice and just went full time for the band. And that money ran out in about 2 months, 3 months. And then we were, then it was like, okay, well, I'm just going to we'll book shows and make sure that it keeps coming in. And it was hard, but it happened. And we had a lot of help. Trevor was working at a a cheese shop that
Oh yeah, I remember you said you were selling cheese.
literally, well, they had good pasta and stuff too, and we would all go there almost every day for free lunch.
And
Pretty
get
much
free
awesome.
sandwiches. So like
free sandwiches,
I was
free
feeding
pasta.
us. I was feeding all
Yeah.
the hungry band
And
members.
our roommate worked there too. So even when Trevor wasn't working, we could, still, like, I remember I just show up at like 1:00, and then all of a sudden Wes would walk in, and then like, oh, there's Spencer too. Okay, we're all here. Gang's all here. And then the parent bar or restaurant to that cheese shop was this place called Mafiosa's. And they would allow me to eat and drink whatever I wanted there, and my tab was always $11.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was, yeah.
That's a
it
random
was a
number.
real-
Why $11?
I don't know.
Remember?
I don't know. But they just put any drinks I had on the spill sheet, and I think I was just paying for the food.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I made a lot of friends there.
That's really funny.
But I'd sit there at night and when I was working at BMI, I'd work 9 to 5, get off work, go home. We'd have rehearsal till like 7. Then I'd sit at my computer and try and book shows till around 10, and then I'd go to Mafiosa's and have some food and a couple drinks and go home, go to bed, rinse and repeat.
Wow.
And then sometimes the rest of the guys would come pick me up in our crappy old van from my work, and I'd still have on like my tie and shit, and we go tour through the weekend.
That was I remember you saying, well, real quick, I'm sure the owner at some point had to be like, how are they always, you guys are spilling drinks at around 10 o'clock every day?
they crack down on all of that, and I'm free to say it now because I don't think any of those people work there anymore.
No,
good.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah. And I remember you telling me, Trevor, too, the van was called Barbara, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's funny. And I think
we
there's
had
a story about it, about
we had some
some
good times
drunk
at
lady or
Barbara.
something. Okay, last time we chatted, you had just put out Hometown Heroes. You had the record coming out. I think you put it out maybe the following year. But that song itself was kind of about you two, right? Like meeting, or like I can't really remember the backstory.
Tommy, you want to tell them about the party?
Oh yeah, so Trevor had sent me the chorus part of it, and it was Hometown Heroes, and I was like, oh, this is great. In Birmingham, our friends down there, I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't think they did it last year, but they have a Christmas party for all the people that are coming home to see their parents and whatnot, and they call it the Hometown Heroes Party.
Okay.
And that name just always stuck with me as like
Yeah.
a really cool, I don't know, it just kind of flows from the tongue. It's like it can be interpreted various ways, people can read into it and apply it to their own lives. So we put it out in March 2020, right, like a week before the tornado rolled through town. And
the one in Nashville.
Yeah, the one in Nashville.
Yeah.
The one that was like right before COVID hit.
There were some rough times before. I mean, you had the bombing on 2nd Street.
2020 was just the worst freaking year.
But
that
tornado almost hit my house.
Oh
I mean,
my gosh.
Yeah,
it was like right
devastating.
by me.
Same. I mean, that's when I was living in
in
Germantown, downtown Nashville, and it came right through there as well. But so we put it out, and then the radio station started playing it here, and people were talking about, Nashville coming together at their hometown, helping neighbors out, people, becoming heroes like on their own street for, they would help chainsaw down a tree that was like blocking the road. It's like, you're a hometown hero. Everyone's a hometown hero if you really just help each other out. So like we thought that was great. Wasn't really like our intention to have the song, kind of applied to that context. And then COVID hit, and you started seeing like the frontline workers being called hometown heroes because they're putting themselves, in harm's way. And so like they were the hometown heroes. And but really the song was about like, our relationship, our long lasting relationship, and
kind of the ones that stay close and the ones that fade away.
Yeah, just thinking back to the times that you've had together and you know where they started and where they're going.
I love it. So from that record to kind of now, fill me in. I know this album's independent, right? You guys did this all kind of yourself.
I would say, yeah, thinking it as like a shedding of your own skin. We have, you know, coming out of putting an album out in the pandemic, we were like, okay, that was not fun because we weren't able to tour on the past album, Silver Dream.
Yeah.
So it kind of didn't really feel like ours. You know, like traditionally in our history, we go out and we'll put a record out and then road test it immediately. And then even like change the songs as we go to like really kind of enhance them in a live setting. We weren't able to do that with this past record. So it kind of felt like it just didn't really exist for us. I mean, it did. It came out there. Like, I love Hometown Heroes. I love Above the Water. There's like some really cool songs on Silver Dream.
It's a great record. Yeah.
Thanks. I just feel like it just didn't really have its chance out there. It didn't have a chance in the world. So in that sense, I feel like this album, Set Yourself Free, does have a chance because we've already been playing shows. We've already road tested a few of these songs and they're bangers. It feels like, you know, it feels like good Moon Taxi live songs. And I think we were able to translate that when we recorded it in the studio to where like people that have been fans of the band for a while, you know, going back to like our cabaret days, our mountains, beaches, cities days, I think they're really going to hear that in the songwriting process because we were like writing this for the live show.
Oh, okay. And this was like, I mean, to do it fully independently this time around, what was that a lot different? Like, do you get to kind of do whatever you want, not have like outside opinions and voices when it comes to the music you guys want to do and put out?
We definitely like to share it with friends and family and kind of get people's opinions on it. But even like the songwriting process, we tried to keep a little bit tighter and closer to home, and we didn't involve as many outside songwriters. Because on Silver Dream, we included quite a few, which was, you know, partly a recommendation of our previous label, RCA, which was fine. It was great, and it was like I learned a lot about songwriting by writing with other people. But for my comfort zone and to be the most authentic Moon Taxis we can be, I think we just had to write this one almost exclusively by ourselves.
Because you were the last record was out of BMG. This time it's just you guys are putting it out on your own label, right?
Yeah. So and then Let the Record Play was written before we signed with RCA. So okay, backing it up timeline wise, we put out Too High before Let the Record Play, which is what the Too High's on. Then that album got picked up by RCA.
Oh, was it because that song was doing well?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. Now
exactly.
I vaguely remember, yeah.
And so Let the Record Play was out, and they were like, okay, you guys, let's put you with these other writers. So the consequence of that was Silver Dream, which was our previous record. So
yeah. Okay.
And then we parted ways with RCA, so it was kind of a moot point anyway. But BMG picked up Silver Dream, and then after that, we're like, okay, let's just bring it back to like where we started, which is like pretty much do everything ourselves because we're very DIY kind of dudes, and you know, as you saw, like, you know, we like it that way, like keeping it really close and tight, and it just feels more authentic that way. So with this album, we were like, there's a concerted effort to minimize those co-writes and minimize, you know, outside influence on. Now we did use this awesome producer, Brennan Ertz, who is a friend of the band and is a phenomenal guitar player. It's just kind of like another creative force and kind of helped push a lot of these songs like over the finish line. But Spencer also produced a lot of these tracks as well. So the circle of trust was like very much, you know, closed in on this one.
Okay. And with you know, coming out of the pandemic, and you said Did you guys recorded the whole record before Silver Lining before the pandemic had hit, or I can't remember.
Yes, yes.
It
Silver
was already
Dream
like ready, right? Yeah, it was already ready to go.
it was ready to go. I think the release date was set for sometime in the summer of 2020. So
Oh,
like,
and then so because of the pandemic, you had to hold on to Silver Dream until 2020, or you made sense to, obviously.
it made sense because we weren't sure how long we weren't going to be able to tour for. So it was
Okay.
like just push back, and like it just felt like it got away from us. So this one, Set Yourself Free, doesn't it feels like, you know, it's ours. We're really able to immediately go out and play it,
Right.
which is how we've done things. That's how we like to do things. So
Mhm.
I just feel like we're back on track.
With this new album, was it something that you had? When did you start writing it? Was it like, were you writing in during that pandemic time, kind of as you're putting out Silver Dream, and
We
or
were
like
writing it kind of when we were touring, you know, like touring was weird in 2021 because we had a big fall tour and then like the Delta variant happened. So
oh right, I remember
some
that.
cities were open, some weren't. It was just like the most disjointed thing. But like to keep ourselves sane, we just started writing some music. So we kind of started in 2021,
Okay.
but like really finished it up, you know, this past, I guess, 2022.
Okay. And is there like, I mean, going into this record, was it like doing this more, doing this, I guess, independently? Has that been a different, well, I guess it's kind of like you've done similar things anyway, and then you'd have the song and then the label would come in. So do you feel like much has changed a lot with the process of the recording the record or writing the songs
No,
at
not
all?
really. No, it feels like what we always do. And I mean, even when we put out records with RCA and with BMG, like we kind of just presented them with something that was already done. Like we didn't really ever have any sort of like rep come in and say you need to change this, that, and the other, because like we kind of just gave them a nice tidy package and be like, well, here it is.
Yeah, that's nice. Because I guess that's what I was curious about. If you had, like, yeah, A&R people coming in and be like, oh, I don't like the mix, or I don't like this, or I don't like that. But it sounds like you've never really had to deal a whole lot with that.
I mean, even going back to like how Belmont has created this like professionalism, it's like we're very critical of ourselves and we hold ourselves to the high standard. And it helped that, you know, one of the band members is our producer, studied music production. You know, it's like if everything is in-house, like we have great songwriters in the band. So like, you know, we don't really need to include anybody else.
Right.
And it is fun to co-write sometimes. It is fun to like go out and try to write something with someone that's not in your band. But for me, it's such a personal, intimate process. I just like to do it with the guys that I know.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that the fact that you guys are all pros, right? Obviously, you went to Belmont, which is huge, and you've done this really independently from the beginning, and people will just kind of come in as they, as you allow them, essentially.
Right,
Like,
which we've been so lucky. We've been lucky for the support from BMG in particular, and RCA for a hot minute. But this is a great Moon Taxi album that I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people and hopefully turn some new heads. It's going to be awesome in a festival setting. So that's what I'm most excited about, is playing these songs live.
Okay. Is there particular songs on it that you're like, oh, this is going to be, you can already vision like the sunset, whatever, like a Bonnaroo type situation?
I can hear almost all of them. I can hear, like, honestly, almost all of them on a big stage with a crowd singing along. We've already been playing Set Yourself Free, and we've been playing a few others from the record, and just it's instant like gratification. You're like, okay, that's a good song, that's what the past record lacked. It's because we weren't able to like get a vibe when we play it live for people. We're like, if it was a good song or not. We just didn't know.
Right. And this way you can kind of test it on the road because you're able to tour and do shows and see what people think.
Absolutely.
Are you guys going to do a big tour? I would imagine do a big tour to support it when it comes out.
Huge tour. Yeah. I should send you the dates. Yeah. We're starting in August and we're going through December. Hitting a lot of market. The only place we're not going in the US is out west.
Okay,
Pretty much everywhere else.
Are you playing here in town?
The closest to Nashville would be either Chattanooga or Louisville.
Oh, okay. Louisville ain't far.
Yeah, no, it's not far. No, you can catch us there.
Awesome. I love it. Dude, thank you so much, Trevor, for doing this again, man. I really appreciate your time.
No, and welcome to Tennessee, by the way. That's awesome that you guys are here.
Love it here. And that's so crazy that you're in Franklin. That's so cool.
I know, we're not far from each other.
Not far at all. My son plays baseball in Franklin.
Awesome.
But I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
If you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Oh yeah. 100%. One, don't give up. Don't give up. It's all baby steps. It's always going to feel like baby steps. That's the big thing, is that every little baby step, like, if we were playing some huge festival slot this weekend, right? And if that happened from the very beginning to right now, it would feel like a massive step. But right now, that's just another good baby step. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Sure. I love it. Thank
you.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping on, Tom.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tommy. I appreciate it. Great.
All right, see you guys. Take care.
Bye.
See you, man. Yeah, so I can just kind of jump back in.
Yeah.
The thing I would say to someone starting out in the music business is to write as many songs as you can. Try to jam with as many people as you can. Try to go to as many shows as you can, and really just have that immersive experience. Like I was telling you, I was a Spanish major in college, and it wasn't until I went and studied abroad for a full immersion that I really kind of got it and started thinking in Spanish and was able to communicate fluidly in Spanish. So it's think about that, but with music, you have to just live and breathe it. And if you are passionate about it, you're going to find a way. Maybe it's not as a performer, maybe it's as a songwriter, maybe it's as a lighting crew designer, which is an art form in and of itself. It's I think just immerse yourself in it, and you'll find your way. Bringing it backward.